I'm so excited to welcome Laura Loomer, who's running for Congress in District 21 against Lois Frankel, who last time she ran against no one, correct?
Correct. Yeah, she ran unopposed.
We are very lucky to have you here on Right Women, and I'm just super excited to ask you all these questions and find out your take on all of it. And let's get started.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
So the majority of people know that you've been banned from Twitter and Facebook and all that, but many people don't know about Lyft or Uber or PayPal. Right. So do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I've been pretty much banned everywhere. I'm the most banned, censored woman in this country. Banned on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Uber, Lyft, Uber Eats, PayPal, Venmo, GoFundMe, Periscope, Medium, and even Chase Bank shut down my online access to my bank account. So it just seems like the list keeps growing and growing and growing. But yeah, when people talk about social media censorship or deplatforming, they talk about Facebook and Twitter and Instagram for the most part, but they don't realize that payment processors and actual financial institutions are starting to ban people too for their political views.
That's just insane.
Right.
And so do you want to talk about how you got banned or?
Yeah, well, I guess it started, when I was banned on Twitter, I was banned on November 21st of 2018. And I was banned because I posted a tweet in which I said Ilhan Omar was anti-Jewish. And the backstory on this is that I'm an investigative journalist, and I've had a career in investigative journalism. I worked undercover with Project Veritas for several years, undercover in the Hillary Clinton campaign. And I started my own media company as well, and I started confronting members of the radical left and making these very high-profile videos. And one of the people who I investigated was Ilhan Omar. And I was blowing the whistle on Ilhan Omar for a long time, right? For a long time prior to anyone even knowing who she was, when she was just a candidate for Congress, right? And when I was doing my investigative work into Ilhan Omar, right, I was reporting how she married her brother, how she was tied to Jew haters and Israel haters and groups like the Council on American Islamic Relations, right? And people said, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy theory. Well, then fast forward to her getting elected, and now everyone realizes, right, she's a complete Jew hater and she's tied to terrorist organizations. Well, when I had posted the tweet, it was a couple weeks after she had won the election, right? And because of that one tweet in which I said she was anti-Jewish, I was banned everywhere, right? And I had millions of followers all across different sites, and they just went on a total digital jihad to wipe me from the face of the internet. And it's just been very vicious, right, the way that they've done it. And then last January, the Wall Street Journal actually released an investigative report about how CARE, which is a terrorist organization, lobbied these companies to ban me.
Oh, that's something I didn't know. So
yeah,
that's fascinating and scary, very scary.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm Jewish, I'm a conservative journalist, and the fact that these tech companies would partner with actual terrorist organizations to shut someone down because they expose, a candidate who that terrorist organization had been endorsing and supporting, it's definitely scary.
And now, of course, the FBI is investigating all those allegations.
Right, yes, the FBI is investigating her, yeah.
And it only took how long?
Yeah. Well, they should have paid attention prior to her becoming a congresswoman, and we could have avoided this whole situation.
Yeah. So how do you think it's hurting you now that you're running for office?
Well, I am, like you said, I'm a candidate for Congress. I'm running in Florida's 21st congressional district, and as a candidate, right, my campaign is not able to have access to these sites. So most campaigns, if not all campaigns in the country, they have a Facebook, they have a Twitter, they have an Instagram. We don't have any of that because they won't let us, right? We can't even raise money on PayPal. But I've been really building up and promoting some other sites, new sites that have been created, sites like Parler and Gab, which are more conservative social media sites now. They're open to everybody, of course, but at the core of their philosophy is an understanding and a protection for free speech. And so I've also been using my email list, but is it as large as my following was prior to being banned? No, but I'm still having a lot of success, and my campaign was able to out fundraise all of my primary opponents combined, and including the Democratic incumbent. And despite being banned, my messaging is still out there because, like I said, I had millions of followers and these people are excited about my race. And so some of them have been posting.
Well, which is a credit to you.
Right.
But
you also have to wonder how much more money, if not, millions of dollars, could I be raising if I had access to?
So, talking about, the bias, censorship, I mean, obviously you have to have strong feelings about this. It's very bipartisan. Like, why? Do you have any insights into that?
Well, yeah, it is very partisan because, the big tech social media companies are run by left-wingers, right? And so these people are, as a result, now Democrat Party donors, and they control the most powerful tech companies in the world. And of course, their political interests are left-leaning, and now they are pretty much exercising their own political viewpoints in their business practices to the point where they are now suppressing and interfering in our elections and censoring millions of people simply because they support President Trump or they have conservative values. And this isn't just an issue here in the United States that we're experiencing. This is happening all around the world where people are being punished for their speech online.
And that's, again, very scary because when you look
by these American companies, I should say, yes.
where is that going to lead, essentially?
Well, it's going to lead towards people getting banned from financial institutions, people being banned from restaurants, from hospitals, and you may think to yourself, oh, well, that's not going to happen. Come on, that's a little overkill, right? That's never going to happen. Well, no, Chase Bank actually shut down my online access to my bank account. They're doing it to people who are in the cryptocurrency industry. And when it comes to people's health, there was a story out of Port St. Lucie this morning I saw where a Trump supporter who needed dialysis was declined his dialysis treatment because he had a Trump cutout. He's a Trump supporter.
That's insane.
Yeah. But that's happening here in America now. And it's this cancel culture that is being fueled by big tech and their bans. Because this is what's happening in China, right? It's called the Chinese Social Credit Score. Right. And the Chinese Social Credit Score is a score that is basically, implemented by the Communist Party of China. And it collects data on you with the help of the tech companies to see what you're posting on social media, whether you're, a compliant citizen. So if you're criticizing the communist government and you are advocating for free speech, right, that's a low score. And thousands and thousands, well, millions of people actually have had their train rides canceled. They've been held hostage in their country, not able to fly, take trains, or leave the country because if you have a low social credit score, they prevent you from traveling. They prevent you from getting medical care. They prevent you from having a car or property. And that's what we're seeing here in America now. And it's quite shocking because it's completely un-American. And when you look at what makes us American, it's the First Amendment. Really, it's what separates us from every other country in the world.
Then, a bunch of other things that they want to get rid of.
Yeah, but ultimately, the thing that really distinguishes us is our First Amendment.
So I know that you were working on Project Veritas. Was it really shocking to see what really goes on in politics?
Well, I started working for Project Veritas while I was in college. I went to Barry University in Miami, Florida, and I started working for them when I was a senior. And then when I finished school, I moved to New York full-time and was undercover in the Hillary Clinton campaign. And so, I already knew Hillary Clinton was a crook, but when you're undercover and you see all of these people, breaking the laws, trying to incite violence, committing voter fraud, organizing voter fraud schemes. I mean, it's pretty wild. And I guess I wasn't surprised, but I definitely learned a lot working for Project Veritas.
Yeah, and I think the majority of Americans don't realize exactly what goes on.
Right.
They just see this beautiful, we'll give you everything you want.
Yeah.
But then there's all these other things going on behind the scenes that they have no idea. And they're just falling for it, and it's annoying, and I think it's also contributing to the hatred that you see, again, like you mentioned, against Trump, and we see it all the time. We read news articles about people that are inciting violence against Trump supporters. So how do you feel about that? Like, do you think that this is all based on that, all this social media?
I think that social media contributes to it because, look, you can be permanently banned and digitally exterminated and deplatformed for posting Ilhan Omar's anti-Jewish. I know people who have been banned simply for supporting President Trump, right? Posting a tweet in support of the president. But then if you call for the assassination of the president, or if you're a member of a terrorist organization, you can freely use these sites, right? Antifa is freely using these sites. And so, yeah, I do believe that these companies play a role in inciting political violence and allowing for terrorist activity and political violence to occur online. But also the Democrat Party, what are they doing to condemn this type of behavior? Again, it seems like all these crazy stories are coming out of Florida, which I guess that's a good thing I'm running for Congress here so I can address them. But in Jacksonville last week, what did we see? We saw a deranged leftist, okay, a member of the Democrat Party who tried to murder Trump supporters who were doing Republican voter registration drives by running his car into them. And then the people tried to pass it off and say, oh, it wasn't intentional, but then he ended up admitting to investigators that he was actually filming while he was driving the car and was trying to run them over, and the only reason he didn't run them over is because his camera stopped. His camera stopped right before he was going to impact with them. So we have people who are leftists who want to kill Trump supporters and kill people simply because of their views, right? We see it every day, people like members of Antifa attacking conservatives in the street in very violent ways that have almost killed people. And then you have Maxine Waters and other members of the Democrat Party saying, if you see Trump supporters out in public, or if you see anybody from this administration, you let them know that they're not welcome.
Yeah.
You know, so when it's being sanctioned by some of the most powerful members of the Democrat Party, no wonder why people are attacking Trump supporters.
Yeah, it's justified. And that's very scary when anything becomes justified. I mean, we've seen it throughout history. Anytime that a political group or a group of any kind, if you can convince people that they're the bad guy, they did this to you, you're a victim because of them, it becomes easy to justify anything, right, including violence, hurting them, murder, putting them into gulags.
Well, and that's what they want to do, right? Yeah. We've seen these, speaking of Project Veritas, the new Project Veritas videos undercovering the Bernie Sanders campaign got Bernie Sanders paid staffers. These are not volunteers, right? So generally on campaigns, when somebody says something or somebody does something and it's totally whack or out of line, they say, oh, it's just a volunteer, right? These are paid staffers who are appearing on their FEC reports talking about how, oh, well, the reason why we want free education here at the Bernie Sanders campaign is because we're going to have to re-educate all these Trump supporters. And then if they don't want to comply with us, we're going to shove them into gulags and kill them. I mean, those are direct quotes from these people. And if you don't, people who don't believe me, go watch the Project Veritas videos and see it for yourself, talking about how if Bernie Sanders doesn't win the nomination, cops are going to be killed in the streets, right? Yeah. Insane things that Bernie Sanders won. He should have fired them, too. He should have condemned it, and he refused to do both.
He refused to do both. That he didn't fire, I mean, that's beyond me. I cannot comprehend when you have outrage if you get the pronoun wrong, but there's mass outrage and there's a forced apology and there's all of this, but yeah, you want to kill the president, that's cool. No
you want to shove Trump supporters in gulags? Okay,
yeah,
exactly. And that's what we're dealing with here. Is how the mainstream media has a meltdown if President Trump has a typo in one of his tweets and they run news coverage about it, or, oh my God, he ate 2 scoops of ice cream instead of 1. I mean, these are real headlines that are coming out of CNN. Oh my God, President Trump ordered the airstrike on Soleimani and he ate ice cream at the same time. Okay, cool. So then when are you going to talk about these paid Bernie Sanders staffers talking about killing half the population in gulags because they voted for the president, right?
Yeah, or people like AOC saying, who cares about authority? Go against them if you see them.
Well, yeah, I mean, and then there's no surprise that in her district, cops are getting shot and killed every single day. And where is she?
Same place Nancy Pelosi is. Not helping. So as a journalist, how do you feel when you see all this propaganda and all the bias in the media?
Well, it stings a little more because when I had access to these other sites that I'm now banned from, at least I could fight back against a lot of it as an investigative journalist, as an independent journalist. But now it just seems like these companies keep banning people who are, creating their own independent media sites or their own personalities online. And now it's an echo chamber. So if you go online, right, and you still have access to these sites, it's an echo chamber. And it's unfortunate and it's really dangerous because most people are consuming news on a daily basis that is anti-American, pro-communist, anti-Trump. And all of the people who are, creating conservative news or reporting news from a less biased or less left-wing slant, they're being shut down and silenced.
Yeah, even on TikTok.
Yeah, which I don't want TikTok. I don't want to use TikTok, but I know it's pretty popular with some people. But, there's a lot of concerns, too, with regards to TikTok being used as a Chinese surveillance tool and how it undermines people's security. So, I'm not going to be on TikTok anytime soon. But, yeah, I do see how it's very left-leaning and how there's a lot of videos on there that are pro-abortion, but then people who post anti-abortion content, they get shut down. So
Yeah, because that's offensive. That's the offensive part of the conversation.
Yeah, well, I saw there was a video circulating online the other day from some girl who posted a video of herself, and she acted as if she was going to go find out the gender of her baby. You may have seen it, right? And the video starts out with her looking at her baby bump in the mirror, and then she goes and she puts on a gown, and you think that she's going to get an ultrasound and find out the gender, and she goes, it's a, like, girl or boy, and then she says abortion.
It's awful.
And that's what was promoted on TikTok and allowed, but then other videos are getting banned.
But you can't say, don't have sex so that you don't get pregnant, because that's a bad thing to say. Those get banned.
Or use a condom or something.
Yeah. It's awful though that we're telling women, well, not, but in general, they're telling women that abortion is a sense of empowerment, that they should feel empowered by it, and it's awful. I mean, how does that get into the media? How does that become a message?
Well, we have these full-blown Marxists who are, infiltrating Congress and infiltrating the media and dominating the political scene, and politics is downstream from culture, and so these people have been able to successfully pollute the culture, and now they're polluting our politics. That's why you're seeing policies in places like New York where you have 9-month abortions and even post 9-month abortion, which is essentially infanticide.
Yeah, I can't think of anything more awful to promote and to align with.
An abortion,
Yeah, it's just disgusting. So we talked about some of the violence. What will you do as a member of Congress to change some of the stuff that's going on?
Well, as a candidate right now, and when I win my race, what I'm hoping to accomplish is really restore sanity to the halls of Congress and really just put Americans first. Because right now, we're seeing that the media is trying to give a lot of time and attention to these so-called most popular, most radical members of Congress, these women in the squad, right? And that's really dangerous because they're trying to make them cultural and political icons, right? And so I'm 26 years old. When I win, I'll be the youngest person ever elected to Congress. But right now, the youth of America are being inundated with these women, and they're being told that, oh, this is cool, right? Wanting open borders is cool. Supporting abortion is cool. What else? Wanting to ban the Second Amendment is cool. Wanting to take away people's free speech and ban people online is cool. And they're putting them on the covers of Vogue. They're putting them on the covers of Rolling Stone magazine, Time magazine, putting them on MTV. Mm-hmm. And the youth of America are being sold this falsehood that somehow communism is the way. And so with my policies and my platform, and when I'm elected to Congress, right, I'm putting Americans first. No more of this, giving aid to illegal aliens and housing to illegal aliens. No, we have homeless veterans, we have homeless Americans, people who are struggling in our country, right? No more selling out to communist China and silencing people in this country and taking away their ability to make a living online and silencing their speech. No. American companies need to respect the Constitution and abide by American laws. And really, I'm looking forward to getting to Congress and really breaking up big tech, because these companies need to be broken up with antitrust laws and antitrust investigations, along with many other things that I plan to do. But, I am definitely very passionate about those issues.
Yeah, definitely.
And also combating terrorism as well. I mean, we have members of Congress right now, people like Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, who are full-blown anti-Semites, and They are using their positions to advocate for members of ISIS, refusing to condemn Hamas, defending Soleimani, right? Iranian terrorists who were responsible for killing hundreds of Americans
Poor
and
guy.
thousands of people all around the world. Oh yeah, poor guy. And so, that's one of the things I'm known for most, right? They call me anti-Muslim because I'm anti-Sharia, and I've taken a really hardline, aggressive stance on Islamic terrorism and Jew hatred. And so, as a Jewish Republican woman, I'm really looking forward to giving these women a taste of their own medicine, because someone's got to do it, and for some reason nobody in the Republican Party or the Democrat Party seems to have the balls to do it.
Yeah, well, you've got my vote.
Yeah. Thank you.
I wanted to talk about the squad because I think they're so dangerous.
They are, and they're dangerous for women along with just America in general, but especially for young women, right? Because they're everything. They're being portrayed as everything a woman should be, but they're everything a woman shouldn't be. And
they're just uneducated, but perceived as
experts,
right?
Yeah.
and whatever they say, that
they're being portrayed by the media and the cultural elites as what is desired in America, right, or what should be celebrated in America, and it's far from it.
Yeah. I mean, they're disrespectful. The list is endless.
Yes, we could go on for hours.
But to see people saying like, "Oh, AOC is my queen," and to have people think like that, that's so scary. That either means that they're completely uneducated.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people are, and I saw there's a study that came out, and Fox News was talking about it the other day, that said that 46% of Americans would vote for a socialist.
That's incredible.
I mean, that's scary. Yeah. And then you have Bernie Sanders, who's going to be probably the front runner in the Democrat Party for the presidential race, talking about how, I'm going to make AOC my vice president, or maybe she'll be an advisor in the White House. I mean, could you imagine?
I don't think that'll happen, because even AOC isn't liking Bernie too much these days. Even she's too radical, I think, for Bernie. They're kind of like, stop saying these things. Like, you can't go and say these things.
Well, he keeps bringing around the campaign trail everywhere he goes, so.
We'll see how long it lasts.
Right.
Because she's just gone off. I mean, she's gone off the deep end.
Right, off the deep end. A long time ago she did, yes.
But now it's just pure insanity.
Right.
Like, and the fact that people believe it, again, is so scary. And it's either I can't wrap my head around why they believe it. Mm-hmm. Either they're really idealistic and they have this vision where if they donate money, and again, whether it's Elizabeth Warren or whoever, that their $5 is going to get them out of student debt, is going to get them out all these things, all these promises, this fantasy land. Either they're delusional or they're very uneducated, and either way, it's very scary. So it's not a good thing, and it scares me, because I do see that a lot of the young people, I hear it all the time. I have a 16-year-old daughter, which, oh man, if she ever comes home saying some of these things, she knows she'll be out the door. But and I can say that because I mean it. But she, we educate her and we make her sit through the debates. And when she asks questions, we don't necessarily stop it, but I'll write down whatever questions she had, and I'll answer all their questions at the end, and why we need border patrol and all these things.
Exactly.
They do have questions. But the things that she tells me about her friends, I mean, and the way that they see things, it's
shocking
and
scary.
Shocking. It's, come on, like, what are their parents doing?
What are their parents doing? Right, exactly.
This is
well, and you see too in schools, it's a problem, right? Because our schools have been totally inundated with radical left-wing teachers and professors who are indoctrinating students. And it's sad, because there are teachers who express their opinions, and then there's teachers who express their opinions, and then they intimidate and bully students into espousing those same ideas. And so students are worried about failing their grades, and so they themselves have to kind of like assume these propaganda talking points. And so I really do think that a lot of this is taking place on the college campuses and in high schools, and there needs to be a serious discussion about that as well, because they're getting government funding, right, through Title IX to carry out these activities. Yeah, and when you talk about the university level, yes, it's awful, but we're taking it down to elementary level. I mean, as I said, I have my 5-year-old. He goes to private school, and he came home there and he said, "I hate Trump. I don't like Trump." And I said, "Excuse me? Who told you that? Why would you say that?" I was furious. He said, "Oh, my friends." Well, when your friends say that, you need to tell them, no,
Trump is my president. Trump is a very good person. And I went on and it's incredible to me that at that age,
that 5-year-olds that they're having, their parents are saying this stuff. Exactly.
Yeah. And I for that reason, I don't want to send my kids to public school. I'm afraid.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, homeschooling is, even in private schools, they're being indoctrinated.
Exactly. So I'm running out of options. I talk to my mom about that all the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to homeschool them because I'm afraid. I'm afraid of the things that they're being told, and I don't want them to grow up hearing these things and being indoctrinated.
Exactly.
That's scary. And I have friends that are in their 20s and they're your age. They're young.
Yeah.
and they still live at home with their parents, but they're full Bernie supporters and talking bad about Trump. It's like, man, if you can't get your stuff together, don't try and fix the world. Don't
Right,
even.
exactly.
I can't listen to you.
Right.
I can't listen to you because you're still living at home. You don't cook for yourself. You don't clean your own house. You don't take care of your own things. So
Right.
your opinion is not valid. And those are the things that parents aren't teaching their kids. They're not teaching them
How to be self-sufficient
Yeah.
and responsible and to have self-respect and integrity. Yeah, exactly.
And then we get into this whole group thing.
Well, and also, too, I mean, it's this culture that we're living in that's driven by identity politics where everybody gets a prize, right? Nobody can ever be wrong. Nobody can be a failure anymore, right? And you can't say anything or reprimand people because, you have to worry about their feelings. But, personal responsibility is important. You don't get a prize even when you fail.
Yeah, not at our house. At our house, if you get a B, you're going to get questioned. Why? What were you doing? Why weren't you doing better in school? Or, oh, it was the teacher. Okay, let me talk to the teacher and let me find out, everyone wants to put blame on somebody else.
Exactly.
And it's not right.
Never personal responsibility.
No, this whole victimhood thing is wrong, and it's
Right.
hurting everybody. It's hurting our country. We're not victims. we all have things that happen to us, whether we're billionaires or it doesn't matter who you are. Life is hard.
Life is hard, yes.
There's just always going to be challenges.
Exactly.
And it's crazy. It's a crazy thing. So if you want to say some things before we wrap up.
Oh, no, I just am really grateful for you having me on your podcast, and thank you so much. And it's exciting. You're a resident in my district. You'll be voting. And for anybody who is interested in learning more about my congressional campaign as well, they can go to lauraloomerforcongress.com, and that's where they can sign up for emails, make a donation. And I'm not on Twitter, I'm not on Facebook, I'm not on Instagram, but I'm on these really great new sites called Parler and Gab. And so I would encourage everybody who respects the First Amendment and supports free speech to download Parler and Gab as well.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We will support you any way that we can.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for
Thank you.
the interview.